During your senior years, you will only be able to rely on 4 friends. Be sure not to pick the incorrect ones. The counsel of the elderly. Are you aware of the people who will actually be there for you when you reach old age and everything changes? When it comes to this subject, the majority of individuals don't bother to ask it until it is already too late. Individuals, acquaintances, coworkers, neighbors, and classmates are the individuals we tend to congregate with when we are younger. And we frequently make the assumption that many of them will still be around when we require their assistance the most. On the other hand, time has a way of announcing the truth. As each of us gets older, the circle becomes more intimate, and it is not the number of friends you have that is the most important, but rather the ones that continue to show up, listen attentively, and show genuine concern. In this video, we are going to discuss the 4 different kinds of friends that you may reliably count on when you are in your years of retirement. These are the kinds of friendships that go even further than superficial pleasantries and idle chatter. It is they who provide solace in the midst of stillness, fortitude in the face of adversity, and happiness on the days that are otherwise mundane. In addition, and perhaps more crucially, we will bring to light the reasons why certain individuals, even though they may be familiar to you, are not the kind of friends you should rely on when things go difficult in life. Do not miss out on this opportunity if you have ever pondered the question of who truly belongs in your life going forward. You might have a completely different perspective on your relationships by the time you reach the conclusion of this video. Additionally, you might even feel motivated to make a more substantial investment in the ones that are actually important. To ensure that you do not miss any videos, I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's get started. On top of that, a friend who is able to listen without passing judgment. There is a certain reverence that comes from being listened to. More specifically, being listened to without interruption, correction, or a subtle expression of displeasure. Nevertheless, this kind of listening is uncommon, particularly in an older age when individuals are quick to presume that they have heard your stories before or that they have a greater understanding of the subject matter. It is for this reason that one of the most essential friends you can have is someone who simply lends their presence without making any attempts to correct, criticize, or direct the conversation for you. A calm and quiet listener who respects your voice and provides room for your truth is all that may be required. Give me the opportunity to tell you about Irene, a woman who was 79 years old and had become accustomed to receiving polite smiles and nods whenever she attempted to convey anything that was important to her. Her grown children frequently interrupt her in the middle of a sentence. Even though they were nice, neighbors were usually in a hurry. It wasn't until she got back in touch with an old friend named Grace, a person she hadn't talked to in more than 20 years, that she came to the realization that listening to her was something she had been missing so much. Grace did nothing but listen amidst the coffee. Nothing distracting from your phone. No advice, just your undivided focus. On the other hand, Irene stated that it was the first time in many years that she had the sensation that her words had actually landed somewhere. As we get older, we inevitably carry more with us. There are times when all we require is a witness to hear our stories. Regrets, hopes, and sadness. We are looking for someone who will not evaluate or respond, but rather someone who will sit opposite us and nod in agreement. In the realm of healing, you have discovered something that is quite uncommon when you come across a buddy who does not rush you and who allows the stillness to extend out without causing agony. Evidence from the field of psychology demonstrates that experiencing a sense of being properly heard can alleviate stress, bring down blood pressure, and even boost cognitive function. Beyond the realm of science, however, it merely brings about calm. When someone listens to you without passing judgment, they are not just hearing what you have to say, they are also conveying the message that you are still important. Even now, your opinion is important, and that is something that we all require, particularly in a world that is moving quicker every day. When elderly citizens frequently feel as though they are being spoken over or left behind. When you have a friend who is attentive, they become a mirror, reflecting not only what you say but also what you are worth. You are reminded that you are not invisible, that you are not obsolete, and that you are not irrelevant. The following, however, is of equal significance. That is the kind of buddy that you must be as well. Rather of asking follow-up questions out of courtesy, be the one who listens, who puts down the phone, and who asks follow-up questions because you truly want to understand what is being said. The majority of people are unaware of the power that emanates from that kind of presence. In the end, as life becomes more peaceful and the world becomes smaller, there are few things that feel more soothing than knowing that someone will still stay with you while you are experiencing these changes. Full attention should be paid, and you should provide room for everything you have to say. Second, a friend who conducts checks in an irregular manner. A person who remembers to check in, not only on special occasions like birthdays or when there is news, but also in the everyday rhythm of life, possesses a certain quiet power that allows them to be quietly powerful. An unscheduled visit, a brief phone call, or a communication that is brief in nature. It may appear that these actions are insignificant, but for a person who is in their latter years, they might be the difference between feeling remembered and feeling forgotten. Take for example Samuel, a man of 74 years old whose days had become more peaceful ever since he retired and moved to a relatively smaller town. His neighbors were friendly, but they were not particularly close to him, and his adult children were in different states, even though he kept himself occupied with hobbies and errands most of the time. The nights seemed to drag on for a very long time. Samuel did not have a sense of consistency in his week until his former fishing companion, Earl, started contacting him on Sunday afternoons for the sole purpose of having a conversation instead. There was nothing truly earth-shattering that they talked about. People joked with one another, discussed the weather, and reminisced about excursions they had taken in the past. But that straightforward check-in turned out to be a lifeline. The fact that a consistent friend does not wait for something to go wrong is one of the things that makes them so uncommon. They do not simply appear when there is a crisis or a drama called for. They are there because they are concerned. This kind of consistent presence also helps to create trust, which is something that becomes increasingly valuable as one gets older. Getting older has a way of making life seem less significant. There is a narrowing of social circles. Mobility may be restricted due to health issues. When old routines are abandoned, friends who make touch with one another without being asked or need a reason to do so stand out for this reason. They are the ones who convey the message that you are still present in my thoughts without having to explicitly state it. Continuous connection is beneficial to one's emotional well-being. Studies have indicated that older persons who maintain consistent social interaction had a considerably lower risk of experiencing positive mental health outcomes such as depression, cognitive deterioration, or feelings of worthlessness. On the other hand, it establishes a pattern, a steady beat that runs in the background of your week, something that you can anticipate, something that you can get ready for, and something that you can look forward to. In addition, if you have a buddy like that, someone who consistently shows up, you are already aware of the comfort that this quality gives. However, in the event that you do not, you have the ability to initiate the process. Make a note of them. Each week, pick one day to focus on. Make a phone call, send someone a message, turn it into a routine. You are not required to do so, but rather because you are familiar with the sensation of being remembered. Because it sends a quiet message that echoes louder than most words that you still matter. Especially when there is nothing major going on. When someone takes the time to check in despite the fact that there is nothing dramatic going on, you continue to be seen. And it is still worthwhile to save some time for you. I would appreciate it if you could use the second comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's proceed with our plans now. In third place, a companion who is committed to the same growth and values. As we become older, we start to have a desire for more than just casual chat. We are looking for depth. What we seek is alignment. Additionally, maybe most importantly, we want to spend time with people who are familiar with the kind of life that we are attempting to lead. The reason for this is because a connection that is founded on shared ideals is one of the most satisfying sorts of friendships in old age. An individual who is on a similar road, not in terms of lifestyle but in terms of thinking. Allow me to tell you about Margaret, a retired educator who is 82 years old on this day. She had a large number of acquaintances, folks with whom she could strike up a conversation at the community center or pass by while she was out for her morning walks. After meeting Helen in the course of a book discussion group, however, she came to the realization that something had been lacking in her life. Reading was something that they both enjoyed doing, but what they appreciated more than that was the opportunity to learn about new concepts, engage in civil conversations, and test each other's ways of thinking. In addition to being a simple companionship, it was a friendship that went deeper than that. This nourished both her mind and her spirit. Having interactions with someone who shares your values makes such conversations feel more significant. As you leave, you feel more alive, laugh a little deeper, and reflect for a little longer than you did before. It is not necessary to have a consensus on everything. Caring about the same kinds of things, such as kindness, honesty, faith, resilience, curiosity, or whatever is most important to you, is what it means to have this kind of relationship. This kind of companionship does more than just pass the time, it facilitates personal development. It is not possible to stop developing even when you are in your 60s, 70s, or 80s. You continue to acquire new knowledge, continue to hone your convictions, and continue to seek out fresh perspectives. In addition, having a friend who is in agreement with your beliefs serves as a kind of emotional and intellectual mirror. They provide reassurance of your path while also gently challenging your way of thinking. Studies conducted in the field of gerontology have demonstrated that senior citizens who maintain friendships that are based on mutual respect and a common purpose tend to experience greater levels of life satisfaction and greater emotional resilience. Not only do they report feeling happy, but they also report feeling more fulfilled as a result of feeling understood. Applause is not as nutritious as comprehension in later stages of life, which is another point to consider. There is a tendency to believe that friendships must be founded on history. Whether it is the length of time you have known someone or the experiences you have shared together along the way. The truth of the matter is, however, that some of the most profound connections can start later in life when two individuals just come to the realization that they have a similar perspective on the world. Therefore, if you come across someone who provokes thought, who makes you feel aligned, and who brings out the best in you, you should keep that person close to you. Make time for that connection, and try to cultivate it, mainly due to the fact that those kinds of friends are not simply enjoyable to be around. It is through them that you are reminded of who you are, who you have been, and who you are still developing into. In the fourth place, a buddy who is there for you when things are tough. There are friends who are always on the lookout for anything fascinating to say. Friends who share passions, and friends who are always entertaining when they get together. However, when life takes a turn for the worst, when illness strikes, when grief manifests itself, and when everything feels heavier than usual, you soon discover who truly belongs in your inner circle. When things get tough, a true friend in old age is someone who stays by your side and refuses to disappear. It is they who lean in, who show up, and who remain. Let me tell you about Walter, a widower who was 85 years old and had made a pleasant life with his wife of 52 years after they had been married. As soon as she died away, there was a deafening quiet in his residential space. However, within a week, the phone calls stopped coming in. Despite the fact that the funeral was completely packed, the visit slowed down. because the majority of his pals were at a loss for words. They chose to remain silent. One Ray, a friend he had known through his religion, was the one exception among them. It wasn't Ray who asked, "But do you require anything?" Just now, he arrived with a cup of coffee and sat down next to him. There is no fix, no advice. There is only existence. This kind of friend is truly uncommon. The person who remains when others leave without them. The one who does not try to put a bow on your pain or push you through it by any means. The individual who is aware that simply being present, in a calm and consistent manner, is more beneficial than any words that could ever be delivered. In addition, when you finally meet that person, you come to understand the significance of being supported not only in times of joy but also in times of grief. These companions do not have to be in possession of all the solutions. No, it is not necessary for them to say the ideal thing. In situations where sleep is not forthcoming, they simply need to be present, whether it is at the hospital, at the kitchen table, or on the other end of the call. And in many cases, it is not the frequency of their presence that is important, rather, it is the depth, the sincerity, and the manner in which they show up without being asked and remain without the need for appreciation. According to research conducted in the field of aging psychology, having a buddy who is there to provide support and comfort during challenging times can dramatically lower the likelihood of experiencing long-term depression and emotional withdrawal. The issue at hand is not one of problem solving. Not being alone in it is the key to success. When the world seems unstable, it is important to have someone who can provide a safe environment. To tell you the truth, even if old age is filled with a wealth of knowledge and independence, it also brings its fair share of challenging days. Expenses accrue over time. Uncertainty arises with regard to health. Once at a time, the people who relied on you might now require your assistance, or they might no longer be around. In circumstances such as these, you do not require 50 contacts stored on your phone. It is necessary to have one soul that walks beside you, not in front of you or behind you, but exactly next to you. Ask yourself, who would you like to sit with if you were in the waiting room of a hospital? Who would give you a call to see if you got it home without any problems? Who among us would deliver a dinner in a stealthy manner without being expecting anything in return? The kind of friend who is worth keeping near is one like that. I would appreciate it if you could use the 4th comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's proceed with our plans now. Finally, some concluding thoughts. This is Juan Mantum. In our younger years, we frequently have the misconception that having a large number of friends indicates that we are loved, connected, and successful. But as we become older, life teaches us a more subtle reality in a more subtle way. No matter how many friends you have, it is not important. It all depends on which ones are still around. Those who listen without passing judgment. Those individuals that reach out simply because they want to. The people who have the same heart and ideals as you do. Those individuals that continue to be by your side even when the burdens of life become overwhelming. During times when everything else appears to be falling apart, it is the friendships that serve to keep us together. Please give some thought to the question, who are you for? Who would you say has been a constant presence in your life? That is, not only when things were simple and straightforward, but also when they were challenging and ambiguous. Furthermore, and probably even more significantly, to whom are you extending such a strong friendship? Due to the fact that friendship in old age is not about sentimentality. It's about taking care of each other. Being present, being genuine, and maintaining a steady pace are all important. It's possible that the years to come will be quite meaningful and even lovely. This is not due to the large number of individuals that are surrounding you. This is due to the power that a small number of genuine links possess. the individuals on whom you can rely, the people who see you, make you feel important, and ensure that you are never alone. Therefore, make an informed decision. Now that you've found your peeps, make sure to keep them close to you, simply because the perfect friendships do more than just make you feel better. They ensure that your dignity is maintained, that your spirit is nourished, and that you are reminded that regardless of your age, you are still profoundly loved. We appreciate you being here with us today. It would be wonderful if you could get in touch with us. Please leave a comment below and tell us about one item you discovered today and how you intend to put it to use in your life right now. We place a high value on your opinions, so please do not be reluctant to share them with us. Our inspiration and encouragement are greatly increased as a result of reading your remarks. I would appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it to be informative and enjoyable. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. We appreciate you taking the time to watch, and we hope to see you in the future video.